Welcome to the Whiztalk series. This is 11th session that we are having. So we'll just give a couple of minutes more, probably another few minutes, so that we'll wait for the participants. So then probably we will have a quick introduction about today's speaker and the topic, and I think we should be good to start with.
I'll come.
All right. I think coming to PMIK Chapter Whiztalk series, and this is the 11th session that we are having it today. And thank you for joining in. So, to start with quickly, I would like to introduce today's speaker, Mr. Sanjeev. So, Sanjeev comes with a experience of 9+ of years, and he has worked in different sectors in the industry, such as banking, manufacturing, and telecom infrastructure. Uh, Currently, Sanjeev is working with Indus Towers Limited in Cochin as a managers of projects and supply chain, and as well as the process excellence. So he has process certifications which includes PMP. He has a green belt in Lean Six Sigma. He has completed his ITIL and business analytics. So today we have an interesting topic from Sanjeev, sorry, uh, which is integrating problem-solving approach in project management, a holistic approach. So welcome, Sanjeev. I think we can start with. So before he just starts, I would like to give you quick updates that we have the chat window. So if you have any questions, you can kindly type in key in there, so we can take up the questions at the end of the session, and also the PDU claim code will be shared with you by the end of the session. Thank you. So Sanjeev, I think you can take on. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Ramanujan, and good evening, friends. So, are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, first of all, this topic came to my mind because of my experience in dealing with different types of projects. When we talk about project management and different types of methodology, I somehow feel that there is a gap in which we deal with projects which are like which requires process improvement or problem solving. So before I enter into the main topic, I would like to describe a situation, what I meant by a problem. So this is an IT project case study that I am telling. We have a company called XYZ Solutions, which the senior management analyzed that their online sales starts declining. So the management felt that their existing website has to be revamped, and they assigned a project manager, Mr. Thomas. And Thomas is an experienced guy, and he did was it. He compared the competitors' websites, and he noted down some features, and also he did some preliminary study on the existing website. Based on all those knowledge that he has gained, he started working on the project. He initiated the project, and project plan was created with the help of his team members. So the revamping of the website was the project that he has taken up, and he finished the project within the timeline, within the resources, within the budget. Everybody was happy, and also the management saw that sales starts gradually increasing, and his team became very happy. So, but after 2 months, what happened is that again the same situation, the sales is coming down. And the management, when it went deep down, they came to know that the initial push in this sales was due to some festive season combined with this COVID situation in which the online purchase trend is high. And that was the reason behind the sales increase. It's not because of the major improvements in the website, and also they are getting major customer complaints. So when they went too deep into this, what happened wrong, they found out that the existing website, the loading of pages were very slow, and some errors in the payment link that made agitated the customer, and customer didn't complete the payment cycle, and they went off. So what happened here is that we had a project which was completed within the time. It went through all the 5 phases of initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, control, and execution. But again, the project got failed. So this element of problem or what happened existing or analyzing the true situation, the project manager skipped that step. Okay, I will continue with that. So I analyzed that there are 2 types of projects mainly. So one is like a direct project in which my requirements, my scope, or my experience will say that this is the way I have to move ahead. Like, for example, I have a solution, I have to deploy it in a client workplace, building a new website or creating new marketing campaign. But what about these type of projects, which I am naming it as investigative type, problem-oriented type, which will be like a new thing to the company or the management, or new thing to the project manager. Like, I have to increase base. I have to reduce the rejection rate of a machine. I have to improve the sales of a particular category of product and reduce the operating expense of the company. So these type of problem oriented or process improvement projects, whether the existing project management methodology is sufficient, I felt that there is a gap. So when I went through more research on the subject, I went through all the literatures. Why do projects fail? People discussing about academia tells about scope creep, over allocation of resources, poor management plan, no experience, etc. But these type of things, like whether the project manager have gone through an extra step in analyzing what is happened wrongly, or whether he has done a proper data analysis of historical trends, whether proper skilled person was allocated to find out the reasons, those type of which are essential, which is happening in type of projects, but it's not yet discussed. When we look at our process groups, which is already existing in our PMBOK, which is about initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, and control and closing, but there is no element which more talks about identification of root causes of business problem, statistically accessing and telling, and this is the problem, and the solution which is sustainable in nature. Those things are missing in our existing way that we look at these projects. So what I thought that whether is there any model whether I can combine and do this type of holistic way in which we can attend this process improvement project. So what I am proposing is that we have a proven methodology in Six Sigma, which is called Six Sigma DMAC methodology, how we can integrate this with our existing project management tools and techniques. So on this webinar, I would like to describe my thinking level. So before I go deep into this DMAC, I would like to touch upon this Six Sigma. So in Six Sigma, what is a data-driven approach in which the variable which is under my criteria or my study, which is a business problem, I will be plotting it as in a distribution. I will be applying Six Sigma tools, and my main aim is to reduce the variation that is happening in this business problem. And I have to reduce the average of that problem. So this is a very big chapter. If you guys want, we can have a separate webinar on that. I will move to the next step. So there are different types of tools here. Six Sigma tools like QFD, 5 Whys, value stream mappings, etc. But here I would like to integrate. So my experience is that we can integrate this DMAC project-based approach into this model. So DMAC stands for define, measure, analysis, improve, and control. So why we need a different model for a problem solving? So the main thing is that when I have a business problem, I should have a separate model in which I can particularly track the problem, how to analyze it, how to improve it. There are various separate tools for that. So this model will help you to do that problem solving correctly. So people will ask question like, if we have a DMAC model, why you need a project management? The answer to this is that when the team starts problem solving, there are chances that the team will go out of beyond the boundary. They will spend n number of insufficient resources and time and etc. for problem solving alone. So we have to have a boundary on that. So Six Sigma has its own missing element. It focuses only on the process or the problem solving. It does not address the management of the project. And also we may experience issues with control of the project, and there may be chances that the problem solving team will use the resources and budget very fast. So in order to counter all those things, we can take the help of the project management tools. We can use WBS, we can use Gantt charts, we can use schedule systems, critical path systems into this model, and the overall project we can have a more control system. So this is my proposing, like when I am telling about integrating DMAC into this existing project management methodology, how can we do that? So I am telling that we have these 5 process groups: initiation, planning, etc. After this initiation, we should have a phase when we are dealing with process improvement projects, which I am naming it as problem identification and solution validation stage, in which there should be a separate WBS for DMAC activity and separate budget and time requirements for DMAC system. And then we will be, based on the sample data, we will be launching this DMAC problem solving project. We will be getting to know the actual problem and also the solutions which are validated with this model. And this we will get the sign off from the sponsor. So once a problem and the solution is getting signed off from the sponsor, solutions may be in the form of a new way of working or a new technology solution or a new skill or resource or a key metrics that has to be tracked. Those type of things will get the sign of sponsor. All these inputs we will be taking into our next stages of writing the larger project plan, and we will start executing it. So this is all about the theory. So this I have tried to demonstrate with a case study. Suppose Kerala government is approaching PMI with a problem that the time taken for getting a test result for COVID sample is very high, and it is varying also across the centers, and they need to run a program to find a suitable solution. So how will we go ahead with these type of programs or projects? So this I am trying to demonstrate with this model of combining DMAC with our project management tools. So when I am getting this project, I will look and reframe the business problem as an objective, as reduce the average time taken for getting sample test result and reduce the variation across the centers. So I will go with the define and measurement stage, DM stage. I will launch it. In this, what I will do is that first I will analyze the voice of customer. Here it is the patient and the government stakeholders. There is a separate tool called Pano model to do that. Then I will understand the current process, which is we calling as is process of sample collection. I will try to understand what is the current measurement system, and we can use the lean tools. Then I will fix a key metrics. So here we can go with the TAT, turnaround time of sample testing. So this is an example of a COVID sample testing procedure, and we can use the VSM, value stream mapping tools, to find out that there are some non-value added methods are there. So after that, I will go with it. I will take a sample of 1,000 samples over the last 3 months. How much time it took for these 1,000 samples, and I can analyze it using some tools called Ishikawa diagram and find out the RCS. So then after analyzing it, we can use it as a data analytics software and find out the average and the standard deviation. So we can see that the 200 samples or 1,000 samples we analyzed, the average time taken for a sample is 50 days and the deviation is 14 days, which is very high. So here we have to throw upon and we have to brainstorm and we have to find out what happened wrong, why this stat is very high, and any separate unique cases are there. Next, we will go to the improve stage, in which, based on all those activities and the solutions that is proposed, we will test it. It can be a new way of sample collection. It can be a file storage or a documentation method or a sample testing methodology. And it may be some logistics problem related to sample collection and testing. So all those new solutions, we will put it into practice and we will again check it. So now we can see that the average time taken has reduced to 3 days and deviation 1 day. Once this stage is reached, it is seen that our process starts improving. Next, once starts improving, then we have to see whether it is sustainable in nature. So in that, we have to go for the control phase, in which we will check whether the capability of the revised process is correct or not. So there we can use statistical process control, in which we will be checking whether the observed samples of time taken is within the upper control limit and lower control limit. So once this stage is over, I am pretty confident that the solutions that I have found out using this VMAC project is worth to go for a larger project implementation. So this I am showing it in this page, in which I am saying that this Sigma DMAC will give me output like a refined scope and problem objectives. It will give me a new SOPs and new process improvement steps, new to-do activities, skills, etc. This I will with my project management plan. I will recreate my WBS. I will have a network diagram and different types of framework function. In the execution phase, what we can do is that based on all these, we can have a large-scale implementation of new way of working all over the Kerala. We have to go for a training plan. We have to go for a logistics solution and storage solutions. So that is why, in summary, I want to tell about, like, before project kickoff, any project manager has to analyze whether this project requires a problem solving or not. And problem solving, if it is there, he should have additional skill, or he should take into account the help of team, which is well versed in that. We can use a DMAC approach. And also, when you are using it, you should have separate budget, separate resource allocation, etc. And it should be signed off with your sponsor. And when you are doing with process improvement or problem solving, check that whether this variation happening is controlled limit and solution looks sustainable. Then you enter into the mainstream project. And mainstream project, they again sign off with the solution. So that's what I want to tell. So many a time, what I would like to mention it as, we should have a project manager, which I am calling as a responsible project manager, in which the solution for each project, when it is completing, there is a certain expectation from the management that the project is sustainable in nature, or the solution or the new technology that put it in place is sustainable. But many a case it's not happening, maybe because of that the skills is not matching, or project manager is not aware of that. So that's why when we discuss the overall literature of project manager, people talk about project management, general management, domain skills are the main elements required for a project manager. But what I am suggesting is that he should have, or his team should have, analytical research and problem solving skill. Then only he can become a responsible project manager, and he can complete a process improvement project in a sustainable fashion. So that's all from my side. Any question?
Any questions for Sanjeev?
Hi Sanjeev, good evening.
Good evening.
Can you get this slide? Is possible?
Ramajan, is it possible to share the slides or?
I think this recording will be available.
Okay,
So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's fine. Thank you so much.
yeah. Meanwhile, I think Sanjeev, we have a question from
Yeah.
Venkatraman Ramachandran.
Mhm.
So first of all, he says it was very helpful session, and his question is, how would be this approach different from problem management process applied as part of operations?
Yeah. So this I would like to explain with my experience in manufacturing. So I worked with an automobile manufacturing company. So where the operation is daily, some problems will be happening. Like one machine is getting broken down. So the immediate attention of that team will be to solve that. So they will take some corrective action. Then they will write some project and they will have a preventive action on that. But here, what we are telling here, it is about a large-scale implementation of a project, which requires a higher budget, higher resource plan, etc. So first, that's why we cannot stop with the problem-solving approach alone. Like in operations, what you see that a machine is getting broken down, you will be doing this as sample or a simple way of problem solving. You find out a solution and you implement it. But here in a project, what you have to do is that after completing this problem solving, you have to take it into a larger scale. So that's why we need a model for doing that. I hope I am clear.
Yeah. So there's another question for you, Sanjeev. So this is from Mr. Wilson Padikkal. So the question
Yeah.
is, any correlation between DMAC and business analysis?
Yeah, so business analysis, it is a broader term, right? So for example, it can be business analysis will be like business, yeah, it is much more management term. So DMAC is more mainly related to any type of problems or any type of business problem that you have. So I think it is entirely different in that. And also in DMAC, what we are using is we are statistically validating each solution that we are proposing. So in business analysis, we have major tools like PERT, then we have SWOT analysis. Business analysts used to use that type of tools is related to strategy. But DMAC will be much more related to a single problem and finding statistical solutions using statistical tools.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So there's one other question from Sunil, Mr. Sunil Ramarao. So he says probability or statistical methodology to understand if the course correction is required or not. Does this not impact agile methodology, which is iterative, and the probability or statistics is based on data?
Yeah. So I think he is comparing this approach with the agile, whether agile will be sufficient enough to course correct all these things. But actually, one thing is that when a management is giving you a project and you are finding a solution and you are going ahead with that, this agile methodology will stick upon the solution that you have figured it out. And it will course correct using that agile framework and it will try to smoothen the process and try to achieve that. But my question is that the solution that you have identified for this project, whether it is correct or not. So that for whether it is correct or not, how will you validate it? That's why I'm telling, if you are using this DMAC approach, you will be able to know the solution that you are taking up and putting it into a large scale project management. You can validate it using this DMAC approach. Then you can take it up and you can apply agile framework or waterfall approach, anything, and you can implement that solution. But finally, first one is whether the project manager has analyzed the business issue correctly and the solution that he has identified is correct or not. How will he validate? So that validation supporting tool is DMAC.
Another interesting question from Sarath.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the question is like, how does this approach can coexist with risk management?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Like, suppose if I take my IT solution, one project that I demonstrated earlier, in which if I am Mr. Thomas, the project manager, I am in his seat when I am discussing risk management plan with my team members. Their thinking will be mitigation of risk and risk avoidance, etc. But whether they will be thinking whether the risk is the existing web page had this problem, that type of thinking, whether it will come into their picture as a risk, that is a doubtful question. So we can have risk management plan, but the risk management plan, whether it is dealing with the correct problem or not, how will we say? So yes, so now what will I do is that I will be taking the input from the DMAC as a solution and implementing it in the larger scale project management. There I will put as a risk plan. That risk plan will be whether, suppose the new process that is derived from this DMAC, if it is failing, what should be my action plan? So in that way, risk management can support this DMAC approach, but it cannot substitute or replace it.
Great. So, Sanjeev, I think different perspective, and especially the way you took DMAC as a problem-solving technique at the from the project management at the initial stage of the project. I think as a holistic approach, it was very good to know.
Yes.
And also at the same time, thank you everyone for their active participation today. So once again, thank you all. Thank you, Sanjeev, again for your session and valuable time. And we'll catch
Thank you,
up in the
team.
next Whiztalk session. By the way, I have pasted the video claim code in the chat, so everybody can take it from there.
Thank you,
Once again,
team. Thank you, friends.
everyone, and have a good night. Yeah.